welcome to the PERFORMA POPcast. I'm your host, Peter Surs, and you guys are awesome. Thanks for listening. My guest today is a WBFF pro. She is a personal trainer out of El Segundo. She runs her own business called Chess Fitness. She's been an athlete her entire life. She works with UFC fighters, NFL athletes, college athletes, and everything in between, to the stay-at-home mom, to young kids trying to get into sports, and just everything. And her company, like I said, Chess Fitness, but she's also a longtime friend of mine. So ladies and gentlemen of PERFORMA Nation, welcome to the POPcast, my friend, Jennifer Paolucci.
Thank you. Hello.
I said it right.
Yeah, you did.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Are you in your house right now, or is this your office?
This is my house.
Okay, cool. Have I been to this house before? I don't think I have.
No, I actually just moved in here a few months ago. Had to move in the middle of quarantine.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, no, it's dope though. It's really nice.
Okay, cool. What's your address? Just kidding. Okay, so Jen, like I said, I know you. How long have I known you, Jen? We met, I want to say
2002.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right? 2002. So like almost 19 years basically. You knew me back when I had bleached hair, which is funny.
And you knew me when I had my maiden name, so that's why you don't know how to pronounce my married name. That's
true, I did. And also I knew you when you had like really short hair. I've known you for like all your hairstyles. Okay, so Jen, first things first, you have been in you've worked your entire life in the fitness industry. Not like your entire life, but like your entire adult life.
Adult life, yep.
Yeah, that's like the only career you've known. 23 years in fitness, basically, which is a long time.
Yeah.
What, first of all, why? Why fitness?
Well, as you said, I've been an athlete my whole life. I played every sport when I was growing up, and I love competition. I love sports. I love everything that it takes to become an athlete and to become better at what you're trying to do. And then when I went to college, I started working in the fitness center, and there was a head strength coach there who just knew his stuff. And I latched onto that world pretty quickly, and he pulled me under his wing and taught me everything he knew. And I started training the athletes there, and it was pretty much a game over at that point. I loved it. I loved all the fine tuning and the details behind lifting. He trained me in Olympic lifting, which is very detail oriented. And so I just started developing that eye for coaching properly, proper technique. And yeah, just pairing my studies with what I was studying in school with sports psychology, and I minored in psychology also. So I really loved that underlying aspect of confidence building through sports and athletics. And yeah, that's how I got started.
That's great, Jen. So wait, you were an athlete. What sports did you play? You played in college. Didn't you play soccer?
Yeah. So in high school, I played soccer, basketball, and track every year. I played softball in my earlier years, but when I went to college, I played soccer, and I tried running track again, but I had really bad shin splints, so I eventually had to quit that and just stuck with track for 4 years.
You went to Whittier College, is that correct?
Yep.
See, look at that. Look at Peter with his memory.
What's the mascot?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is the mascot? Hold on. Whittier, I want to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very weird.
What is it?
We were the Poets.
That's the stupidest mascot ever. The Poets? Like you're gonna fucking do poetry and like intimidate the competition? That's whose idea was that? The Poets? Is it a liberal arts school?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we were small, and we didn't even have the Greek system, we had societies.
Oh, okay. That's okay. You didn't miss anything in the Greek
Oh,
system.
I know. I wouldn't have.
Trust.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the Greek system, but I was only in the Greek system so I could meet girls, and it didn't really
Yeah,
even.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it didn't even really help me that much, to be honest. Like I met them, but that was like it. And actually, never mind. I'm not even going to tell this story because I only have one. I don't know if I could tell it on this podcast. It had to be another podcast another day.
All right.
Okay, so like I said, you've been training for 23 years, which is crazy. But because I know this, but you've been able, I feel like, to kind of change with the times, whereas like some trainers, they train and it's just like this way or the highway. They're still doing the same shit they did, 20, 30 years ago, because it worked then. It clearly works now. But you've been someone who is constantly learning, constantly adapting, incorporating new things. So first of all, why is that a thing to you? Why is it important? And what do you like? What's your favorite way? Actually, let's just answer that question first, because I'll have a million questions afterwards.
Yeah, well, gosh, thanks for commenting on that and for asking the question, because that is something that I take very seriously in terms of evolving. So I guess the best way to answer that is that I've always just been fascinated on how the human body works. And
how does the human body work?
God, that would be another podcast.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. Amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. They always say once you get to the point where you feel like you know everything, then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, you can't.
Because, yeah, I mean, the human body is so complex, and so anyway, my niche sort of became injury rehab, fixing injuries, fixing biomechanical issues. And so the way I was taught initially, in my immaturity of just being an adult, being a human being, trying to figure out my career, trying to figure out how to implement my training knowledge to each client, was immature. And as I was watching and observing my clients be coached by me, it taught me all these new intricate ways to sort of maneuver my coaching to get better results.
Yeah.
And I looked around all over the industry. I got coached by trainers. I went into different organizations, whether it be a training facility or a different coach or.
Jenn, hold on, I'm sorry. Do you remember when we went to a certification together fucking like years ago? Do you remember this? It was like,
which one?
I want to say it was like IFPA or something. It was shit.
No, was it ACE?
No, it wasn't ACE. It wasn't ACE, because it was okay. We used to work with an individual and he recommended we get this one. He said it's the best certification ever. And and then it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And I wasn't even talking about certifications, because you're right. Like I really didn't learn much at all from certifications that I took.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was more about just applying it, actually. And with my bodybuilding career, with being an athlete myself, with just learning from wanting to better myself. Something didn't work, I tried something new. That didn't work, tried something new.
Right. Okay, so you talked about it, so I'll ask some questions about this too. So your bodybuilding career, which is obviously I love, because I've always had respect for anyone that competes, because I will not give up carbs. I just won't. I don't like. I don't eat a lot of them, especially now as I've gotten older. Like I don't do low carb, but I don't do a ton of carbs, at least processed carbs. Like, but whatever. Like I still need them. But like to compete, you just have to like not have any for X amount of time. And I can't do that. But what made you get into that, side of, because that's, that there's training, like as a personal trainer and, helping people lose weight and sports specific training and whatnot. But then there's, competing, and that's a whole different genre of fitness. So what made you get into that?
Well, it was actually in that gym that we were training at together when we had our little crew of trainers, and I started beasting out on lifting, just like as heavy as I could, as many different ways as I could, every kind of style you could think of. And John
Lee,
I think it was his bright idea to go to the bodybuilding show when we went to Vegas at one time. And we walked in and I saw all these like amazing bodies, and watching the performance, the show, I was like, this is maddening. Like, I don't even understand how they can create that body. And it fell along the lines that I was speaking about before, where the human body can do so many different things, and finding that recipe, all the different ingredients that pull together to create something that you're imagining was just so cool to me. So I got back in town and I started just diving in, and I looked around for different trainers, but the first show that I did, I trained myself. I got a few suggestions and some advice here and there, but I did the whole thing myself and hiked it back to Vegas and stood up there and did my thing, not really know what the heck I was doing. And I didn't place at all, but it was an amazing experience. And a whole bunch of people came up to me afterward and they're like, you could really do something here. You've got the makeup to make a pretty cool career, but you're going to have to do some things differently. And so
like
that just use a few supplements.
Illegal supplements?
Yeah, a few illegal supplements.
Oh.
And I mean, that was the main thing that they were talking about. And then, I started just poking and prodding about how to really elevate myself in that world. And I found a few other trainers that were talking about all the strategies, like what you were referring to with the no carbs. That's not even really the hardest part, because
it would be the hardest part for me.
No, but you don't have to eat no carbs. That's a very old school style of bodybuilding. And that's kind of segueing me into another part of this answer, because I competed for about 5 years back in my 20s, and I learned a lot, but it was the old school style. Right. And I took a little hiatus for about 10 years and then started competing again. And it was a completely different experience. But
yeah. So you took 10 years off.
Yeah.
And then went back, and then you won, or you got your pro card like a few years ago, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like after taking a hiatus, which is kind of, I'm sure other people have done it, but it's not a lot of people that just be like, all right, I'm going to just not do this for 10 years and then come back and be like, what,
right.
Bitch? Right?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So what was it about, like, what made you want to do it again after taking so much time off?
Well, first, I'll say the reason I quit in the first place was because it was very challenging for me to balance normal life with that world, because that world is it's a weird world. It's just very regimented. And being in my 20s and, just coming out of college and trying to figure out how to have my career and have friends and have boyfriends or whatever,
you had a lot of boyfriends. It was
hard. No, I didn't. No, really, I met my ex-husband at the time, and that kind of sealed the deal for me, because I couldn't have a normal life, or at least not the way I was doing it, because I was so dedicated to just doing what I had to do for the sport.
Yeah.
So, so I quit because I just couldn't hang. It was too much of a roller coaster for me. So I went through a lot in those 10 years. and I randomly ran into somebody that was competing. I was at a gym working as a trainer, and she had that body, and I was like, ooh, that used to be so fun. Like, I just remember feeling
Wait,
like that.
this when you were working at Unbreakable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I just started talking to her, and she said she competed in WBFF, and I'd never heard of that organization. So I asked a few questions and looked into it, and it looked very different than NPC, which is where I started. So I don't know. I just got like the bug. I was like, I kind of want to see what I can do with my body now with a more mature um, mind, more wisdom, more knowledge about how my body works. And I was like, screw it, let's see what I can do. So I got my pro card on my third show. So I competed the first time in the WBFF, I placed fifth. And then the second time I placed first, but did not get my pro card. And then the third show I got my pro card.
Wait, I don't know. I don't understand how that works. So maybe explain why you would win but not get your pro card.
Yeah, it's unusual. For other organizations, it's usually top first or second, they automatically get a pro card. WBFF does not guarantee that. And I kind of like that because, let's say you're in a pool of contestants who just aren't pro quality, but you happen to be the best out of all of them. They could decide whether or not you're ready to go to the pro stage, or they may think you have a little bit more work to do. So I understood, and it just drove me to push a little bit harder. So when I came back, I got my pro card.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be fucking pissed if I'm being honest.
Oh, I was fucking
been like,
pissed.
wait, I won, but I don't get a fucking card. Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a picture of me on stage when they announced that I got first, and then usually the next step is they give you the award, and they weren't doing that, and I was like, hold up, what? And then they ushered everyone off the stage, and I was like, hold up.
Ah, man. Yeah, I probably would have raised some shit, Jen, if I'm being honest. So okay, so now you have your pro card. You're obviously you're training athletes and all that. Like, how do you do that? Because I mean, I don't live in South Bay anymore, which Jennifer's gym is. I say Jen. I don't know why I say Jennifer. Jen's gym. Your gym is in El Segundo, right?
Yeah.
Which is in South Bay, Southern California. Nice little beach community. But like, do you advertise, or I feel like, do people just like, is it all word of mouth? Like, cause I don't know. These are questions I have.
Yeah. I do not advertise, but that's something that I'm working on right now. My training career has sort of taken a life of its own just based off of referrals.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different now that I have a facility and I have trainers who are working alongside me. So I'm not just promoting myself or, relying on the referrals of my clients. I actually have to market for the philosophy and the mission that I'm trying to achieve with this brick and mortar spot. So yeah, I'm working with some really cool people to help me fine tune the marketing side of stuff.
Okay. So the answer is that you do not market right now. You just get people.
I do not.
Yeah. So how do you get to, like, I know you're training like guys in the NFL and like UFC and stuff. So like, is it just someone tells them like, oh, you should try this chick Jen? Like, because that's like, I mean, because athletes, obviously, like, that's a very specific, like, especially professional athletes, like there's no wiggle room. Like, they have to know that the person that they're working with is like going to do the job. And if,
right.
So.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So my clients in that vicinity there's a few ways that I've done it. A lot of it has been, I've worked with a certain athlete, and it's usually with injuries. That's how I start. So let's say I help somebody get through a pretty gnarly injury, and they just spread the word, whether it's on their team or maybe they're at a training facility in the off season, and somebody's has an injury, or they're talking about, because that world is very like, where are you training? Who are you training with? And so when they name drop or talk about how they got their edge, everyone else is perked up and ready to find out where that is. The other way, though, is that I really put myself in opportunities that I can sort of network and achieve some clients. And I've reached a point where I'm confident in what I can do, but I really just want to just dive in and work. So I'll be at a field, for example, and I'll see somebody either moving funny, or they're trying to stretch or do something to alleviate whatever pain that they're feeling. And I'll just walk up to them and spark up a conversation. And usually I have them on the floor and I'm doing something to alleviate their hamstring or their groin or their shoulder or something.
You go to where you go to, like, just random fields? I don't understand. Like, you just show up to the park and like.
No, if I'm working at a field with another player,
Okay,
and there's
got it.
All of the athletes who are there to either practice, or they're doing a skill work, and they could be working with other trainers. It doesn't really matter. Or it could be at a gym where I just see athletes doing their thing. I'm just really aggressive with helping. So
I can see that. Jen is very. I've known you a long time. Obviously, you've always been like very like. I mean, not intimidating to me, but I could see how like you have a commanding presence, and like you've always been very like I mean, I would do stuff and you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, what? You're like, do it this way, or da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, like, but so I could definitely see you just walking up to some fucking 250-pound athlete and being like, hey man, like you're not doing that right or something. And but what's funny is that I feel like a lot of these guys, like, they respond to that kind of, because most people like kind of cower to them because they can be such a present. And so when they get someone that like comes at them like on their level, they're like, oh shit, okay, like let's do this. I get you.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing about the approach that I've discovered is, especially when I get feedback from players who talk to me about why they trust me, is I really do approach it from a place of, I want to hear what's going on with you. And from what I understand, that's very different in this industry, where people are coming at them like, this is what you need to do. This is the way to heal this injury. And although I have confidence in being able to heal a vast array of injuries, I really care about how they're feeling, what they've learned about their body, and I sort of meet them in the middle with, just cultivating the right ingredients for their particular issue. And usually it's something different that they've never heard of before, never tried before, and that piques their interest even more, because they're like, man, nobody's ever explained it to me like that, or nobody's ever, shown me how to engage that muscle before. And so I really just look outside the box when it comes to situations that I know that they're frustrated with. Because again, in the world of injuries, you're dealing with people who are really, really, really fucking frustrated, whether their career is on the line, or the game is on the line, or something that's pretty catastrophic. So I understand that. I empathize with that. So I want to get them to where they feel confident in their body again, and then they can play and make their living again.
I like it. I feel very confident in my body, Jen.
I know you do.
But like,
I know.
But also like, I mean, because I'm old, Jen.
We're both old, homie.
Yeah. But like also like, confident but never completely satisfied. Like I'm always wanting to like, all right, I'm gonna work on this now, or and I don't know. It's just like, even after, I mean, because I've been in fitness almost as long as you have, but I've been working out since I was 8. I've been working out since I was 8, Jen. I got my first, for my 8th birthday, I got a Hulk Hogan workout set, and it came with three little dumbbells and a hand grip, and it came with a tape that was narrated by Hulk Hogan, and I swear to God, a tape, and there was like a poster like with a diagram of all the exercises and what order to do them in, and Hulk Hogan would narrate. He's like, "All right, little Hulkster, don't cheat on these, or I'm gonna body slam you." And it was awesome, dude. And I've been working out ever since.
Yo, that's
Like,
great.
when I was 8. So
No, I can see that for sure.
But the thing is like, even still at my ripe young age, I'm still like, all right, let me do this. Like, I love still continuing to kind of push that envelope. I have no desire to be on stage. I just want to look good on camera.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So you're a mom, and Jen, you're not quite 40 yet, right?
I'm 41.
Wait, are you only a year younger than me?
Yep.
I thought you were 2 years younger than me. I thought you were
I just turned 41 last month.
I know, I text you happy birthday on your birthday.
I know.
You're like, this is a surprise. I'm like, why? It's your birthday, dude. What the hell?
I don't remember anyone's birthday. That's why.
Facebook always reminds me of people's birthdays.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not on Facebook anymore.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I mean, I have my Facebook page. I just don't use that.
Good for you, man. You're probably better off not being on it. Who was I talking to about? I think I was talking on one of these podcasts actually, but like I was telling you how I don't I try to I definitely not try, like I limit my processed carbs, like breads and all, like just shit like that, especially as I've gotten older. But we were talking about, I do so many of these interviews, I don't remember which one it was, so I'm sorry guys, but how we pay so much attention to what we put in our body, like as far as processed foods in our mouths, but then we have stuff like our phones and social media, and we're putting all these processed information, and a lot of it is obviously not, I don't like to use the word toxic, but a lot of it is shit that people are spewing. So point is, you're probably, if you're going to pay attention to what you're putting in your body, like ingesting into your mouth, maybe also pay attention to what you're putting into your brain, because that can have the same effects. The same way bad foods and processed foods affect your body and your caloric intake and all that stuff, the same thing can be said about what you're putting into your brain, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly why I stopped with Facebook. This was getting a little too much for me. Yeah,
I just like to to post stupid shit, and get a rise out of people. I feel like I posted something really clever, and then I just bounce. Oh yeah. My post yesterday said, "Eat edible, eat dinner, watch Nancy Drew." Just, I'm pushing the envelope.
Good one, Petey.
Have you ever seen Nancy Drew?
No.
It's so good. I know I'm not the target demo, but since this is a pop culture podcast, that's my favorite show right now, you guys. Okay. Nancy Drew. Are you familiar with Nancy? Are you familiar with? Okay, so in the TV show now, she's all grown up, so she's like college age, and her and all her friends solve these mysteries. But there's also like a supernatural component to it.
You're hilarious.
So why?
Keep going.
So there's also like a supernatural. So like sometimes it's like a murder, and then other times it's like a ghost, and sometimes like there's a murder and a ghost, and it's like I'm gonna be honest, I don't get scared, but I could see people watching it and getting scared. Like there are some scares in that show. It's very interesting, and it's a perfect combination of like who done it, but also supernatural, but not like so much supernatural, just enough to where you're like, oh. And then also like everybody on the show is hot, so that helps too.
There you go. I knew there was something.
I mean, it's a
I used to read the books.
Yeah, I mean, I never read the books, but now that the show is on, I'm like, I'm not gonna go back and read them, but I'm like, when I tell people about it, they're like the books. I'm like, yeah, but she's an adult now. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are did you find I know it's hard because you're a mom, so you probably have to do a lot of like mom things. But you know, while we were all locked up in quarantine, I, like a lot of other people, were forced to watch, you know, excessive amounts of television. So was there something that maybe you watched during quarantine, during the pandemic, that you probably either that you wouldn't have watched under any other circumstance?
No,
No,
maybe a little bit more YouTube stuff,
YouTube stuff.
because yeah, like my daughter really likes, she has a couple different directions she goes on YouTube. It's either crafting things, because we crafted the hell out of the world during
Really?
quarantine.
Like what kind of
Yeah.
crafts?
Oh, like tie-dye and building little houses out of cardboard and painting and drawing and what else? We did a lot of tie-dye experiments.
Okay, that's cool.
That was cool.
Tie-dye's
Mhm.
like a tie-dye. I feel like tie-dye never really goes out, but I definitely have noticed a trend. I'm going through myself
It's coming
personally.
back.
Oh, yes. Personally, I'm going through a designer hoodie phase in my life.
Okay.
Like like I've literally bought 3 hoodies that each cost $100 each, and whatever. But like there's one of my friends owns a clothing company, and they have these actually 2 of my friends have clothing companies that are like very like high end, and
Mm.
these tie-dye, they have tie-dye hoodies that are like $200-$300.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
know.
like, get the fuck out, dude. $200? I thought I was going crazy spending $100 on a hoodie. You want me to spend $200-$300?
Well, so what's up with your $100 hoodie that made it so expensive?
So okay, so one of them is, as you know, I'm a big Dodger fan,
Mm-hmm.
and so the Dodgers won the World Series, obviously. And there's this company, it's called Born X Rays. It's like a LA based clothing company, and they do like kind of like, are you familiar with like Supreme?
Mm-hmm.
So like kind of like that, like they'll do like these limited edition launches. And so they did one with the Dodgers making the world, and it was just a really cool hoodie that had like
Okay.
world champions Dodgers, and this, it was very, it's got like it's blue, but it's got like red writing and white writing. It's just very pretty, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a street quote unquote brand, even though it's $100. So it's like, what street is going to be fucking $100? But like I knew it was limited edition, so I was like, well, I have to get that one. And then another one that I got is a hoodie. You know, you're probably familiar with the company Roots of Fight?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. So they have a
Yeah.
line with Roberto Clemente, who was a famous baseball player from Puerto Rico, who
Yeah.
tragically, you know, do you know who Roberto Clemente is?
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah, I know.
That was like the thing. Like he was I mean, I didn't get to see him play because it was before my time, but at the time he was arguably the best player all around. Got his 3,000th hit, which is you know, anytime you get 3,000 hits, first ballot, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like that's how it works. But then in the off season, he was going on like a missionary trip to deliver like, you know, foods to poor people, like in
Mm-hmm.
I think in like Venezuela or something. He died in a plane crash, so his
Yeah.
career, he never got to complete his career. And
Yeah, really sad.
yeah, but he's obviously, and even still, like to this day, like almost any player to come out of like Latin America or the Caribbean, like they look up to Roberto Clemente. So I got a cool Roberto Clemente hoodie. And then I had
That makes sense.
then I had this other Dodger related one. It's like I don't know, I can't really, it's got like all these like famous, like all the basically like all the greatest Dodgers are on it. And anyway, sorry guys. So anyway, we got through that by talking about tie-dye. Tie-dye is making a comeback again. Okay, Jen, I'm going to ask you some tough questions. I've been throwing you softballs this whole time. Now we're going to ask you some tough questions, okay?
Okay.
Number one, who are the 3 people who have been most influential to you?
Oh, dang.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know them either. I told you they were going to be hard.
Yeah, thanks. Well, my mom.
Okay.
My mom.
Vicky?
Vicky. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to talk about why or just
Yeah. Just tell
her. Well, she raised me as a single mother, and she pretty much embodied that single mother badass. I can do everything on my own. But she never, like, she had one job. She wasn't a career woman. She wasn't slaving away, working 5 jobs like some of these amazing single mothers, but she made her money paycheck to paycheck, but she was home to be my mom.
Yeah.
And she even swore that she wasn't going to remarry or, get into serious relationships with anyone until after I graduated from high school, which I thought was a little bit, now I think that's a little bit strange just because I just feel bad like that she didn't get to experience that. I mean, men were falling in love with her left and right, but she was just my mom. And she was at every game, every practice, every pickup, games that were out of town, just always there. And she instilled in me that concept of you can do whatever you put your mind to, whatever you want to do. Don't let anyone talk shit to you. Stand up for yourself. Just like that badass kind of mentality.
Okay, so now I know where you get it from. You got it from your mama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, that's one.
Petey.
Oh, by the way, Jen knows me from a time in my life where everyone called me Petey, and I still answer to that, but professionally, people don't really call me that. So it's just funny. So that's why she's calling me that. But because I used to go by that and even introduce myself as that. And now it's weird, but it's just funny because I have these people from different parts of my life. It's just funny.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what your name is in my phone.
Yeah.
Okay, Holly. She is another woman, kind of like I just described, but she's our age. So I went to school with her. She's a year older than me. And she just has always been there for me. I played soccer with her. I kind of looked at her like an older sister. And she's been there throughout some of the hardest times in my life. And so influential in the way that she just is always this rock of confidence and getting through trials and tribulations with I don't want to say ease, but with like, you can do this, you got this, you just have to figure out how to do it. And she's always been my support system, so I would definitely put her on that list.
Okay.
I went to Sandia Prep with her in Albuquerque.
Wait, say that again.
My high school, Sandia Prep. So I've known her since I was a 6th grader. Because my school was 6th to 12th grade. So that's a long time.
Albuquerque is 505.
That's right.
I make many stops in Albuquerque.
You do? Oh, for
whenever I drive. No, they don't have a comedy club there. Whenever they used to, they don't have one anymore.
I don't know. I was wondering if things have changed because I don't go back there anymore.
No, it's usually the point where like if I'm driving, I make a lot of I make the drive from LA to Oklahoma a lot. So it's usually where we'll stop to spend the night and then just get the fuck out of there as soon as the sun comes out.
Yeah, pretty much. You do.
Okay, you got one more, Jen.
Can we go to another question while I think about that?
Yes. What is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it? I'm so good at these.
See, like I keep thinking of things that I want to say, but then I don't like to call them failures because I learned from them.
We could call them setbacks because I'm also in the belief that you don't fail unless you quit, and I've always stuck by that one. Like, you know, I'm like, I might fuck up a lot, but
yeah,
when I quit, that's when I failed, and I've never quit. So, you know,
right. Oh my gosh, I still okay.
We can go back to that one, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this about bodybuilding because you know we're talking like life and training and stuff. What's one common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
The one that you were talking about, this no carb thing.
Yeah. Okay.
The no carbs and excessive cardio. I guess just really like I'm going to just call it the old school bodybuilding method. So no carbs, excessive cardio, brown rice chicken, or even like fish, brown rice, and broccoli for every meal that you're eating.
Right.
6 meals a day. So that whole kind of package, I'd love to debunk because, again, when I started competing again in my older years, I didn't do any of that. I ate all kinds of different foods. It certainly wasn't the same food for every meal. And the fact that I was a mom with a whole bunch of new responsibilities, I wasn't going to have a nervous breakdown if I didn't have like my food dialed in to the T the way I used to in my 20s. And just that the route to achieving that body that is going to be on stage scrutinized by your judges is very flexible. There's so many different ways to achieve that body. And I mean, each show that I've done, I've prepped in a completely different way and gotten pretty amazing results comparatively. So like, for example, one show that I actually had more carbs than I used to in my 20s, I was way leaner.
Really?
Doing less cardio, more food.
So what's different then? Like,
well, so yeah, what I was going to say is really the route is based on achieving a really peaceful environment in your body. So, you know, going back to what I just said about not having a nervous breakdown if something went awry, that's a huge part of it because stress, I call that like glue inside your body that glues body fat, viruses, diseases, illness. And back in my 20s, I remember I was walking out of my house one day to go to work and I had weighed all of my food. I had like 4 Tupperware containers. They were stacked on top of each other. I was walking out the door and I was like balancing all my shit and the top Tupperware fell and my food spilled out on the floor. And I like almost lost my mind. I was so upset. And I'll never forget that moment because that was what that just was the definition of how I was living my life. Like everything was just dialed into the T and I wasn't able to adjust very well. So yeah, having a peaceful body, not only within your various systems, so how your hormones are balanced and your lymphatic system, your immune system, all those things need to be working in proper order. in order for your body to burn body fat, and then having the right coping tools to stress management to really keep a peaceful mindset. That was a game changer for sure.
Okay. I like it. So the myth that is debunked is that you don't have to not have carbs in order to compete anymore.
And you don't have to do this cookie cutter style of this is how you train for a bodybuilding show. You just have to find the way that fits your genetic makeup, your physiological health, and your lifestyle too.
Yes, I mean that can kind of be said about just, I feel like, training in general. Like there's no, because our bodies are so different and unique, there's more than one way to get to a specific, like you could have the same end goal, but there's more than one way to get to that end goal. Just like in baseball, like not everybody has the same batting stance, but they're still going to get the results. It's the same thing, right? That's what's great about the human body, right? Okay, you want to go back to your biggest failure?
Wait, you didn't have more questions? I didn't have any time to think about that because I was answering your question.
Damn it! Well, I was trying to. I can't just have dead air time, Jen. Okay, no, here. Okay, we'll do this question. Okay, so this is kind of a tricky one, but if you could step into my shoes, okay, what would you have asked you that I didn't?
Okay. I probably would have asked some more questions along the lines of how to be a mother.
Oh yeah, that was my next questions. But not how to be a mother. I mean,
while you're doing all these other things.
Yeah. So how do you do that? Because I was talking to, who do we have on? Sean and Holly, and they were talking about, like, they're both bodybuilders, and so, but what they do is they take turns. So like one will be competing, one will be prepping, while the other one is kind of being the parent, and then vice versa. But you don't have that option. So how do you do that being a mom and a single mom of all that?
I heard this analogy. I don't even remember who said it, but it was so well said. She said that all the different responsibilities in your life is like juggling, let's say, 20 balls in the air. But some of them are glass and some of them are plastic. And I think that's such a great representation for how to view your various responsibilities. So obviously being a mother is my glass, and it's definitely the most important part of how I'm navigating through my life. And, you know, like, for example, this past year with quarantine and she didn't have school and she was on Zoom, and I was taking her to the gym with me and training my clients.
Jen, you're not supposed to talk about that.
I'm not. No, not when the illegal lockdown was happening, when we were still allowed to train.
It's okay, Jen. We're okay. We are proponents of fitness, because it's so important, especially during this whole thing that we just experienced. The fact that they're just like, yeah, well, this is a disease that affects unhealthy people, but yeah, don't work out.
Sit home and get more unhealthy.
And get McDonald's, you'll be fine. And wear a mask, though. Don't forget to wear a mask, and you'll be healthy. Right. It's like, okay. Okay, so I love the fact that your daughter is like a little mascot at the gym. Like, she's on the stability balls and doing stuff. And like, I think, like, I mean, like, I don't have kids yet, but like, that's one thing. Like, I did not get my love of like working out and whatever from my parents, so I could easily probably not be a healthy person, but I didn't go that route. But I feel like it's important for parents to set that example to their kids, not force them to do it, but just like to set an example. And then the kids are like, oh yeah, this is what mom does. Like, this is fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty passionate about that role modeling too. But yeah, she was running out every 5 seconds with some sort of problem, and everyone just knows I'm a package deal. You're gonna train with me, you're gonna get my undivided attention until my daughter needs my attention. And you know, I think I balanced that role pretty well because and then my daughter also understands that I'm running a business and she's my little helper. And I ask her to help with various things that probably other 9-year-olds are not doing, but she just steps up. She's a little bit more mature than her years, and she's pretty cool little kid.
Yeah.
For sure.
Who is your favorite comedian?
Oh, well, you.
Yes, that's the right answer. That is the right answer.
Of course.
Yeah, it's the right answer. Jen, I'm just going to be honest with you right now. You haven't seen me perform in a while, but there's some really cool things happening when I hit the stage, man. It's like, I don't know, I can't describe it, but there's I'm very excited with what just what I'm doing. Like, I'm in a really good place. It's crazy because I've gotten to the point where, sorry guys, where I can, like, you know, my dad died a couple months ago, you know, and it's just like I'm just able to take whatever crazy thing happens and figure out a way to make it funny. And it's I mean, it's kind of like therapy, if I'm being honest, but like it's just also just really fun. Like, I'm having so much fun on stage these days.
No, man, I'm so proud of you. Just, I can tell just from the stuff that you've posted that you're also maturing in your craft and that you're just kind of finding your groove.
Yeah,
I think it's really dope. And I totally understand what you are referring to with the therapy aspect of it.
yeah. Oh, dude, this I don't know if you saw, but I said I was in Dallas. Well, by the time they hear this, this will be in the past a month or so, but I did these shows in Dallas, and you know, like, people follow me on social media afterwards or whatever. But I did a show, and you know, I was talking with my dad, and then this girl slid into my DM, and she was like, actually, I'll read the message because it's actually pretty funny. Sorry guys, I gotta look it up. How's life? Hold on. Oh, hold on. I just pressed pause. Duh. Okay, so she writes me a message. She slides into my DMs and she says, first of all, she says, "You were awesome," and she sends me the emoji with like the kiss.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, I did my best, and that's all I say. And then she says, "You were hilarious, but I was really sad for you because if it's true about your dad, you might have some trauma you need to heal. Sorry, I foster one boy and adopted 3 from foster care. All are drug and trauma related. Seriously, if you need to talk to someone, do. I'm here too. I'm pretty good with brain trauma as I've done lots of training. Just made me worry a bit about you."
Okay. Okay. Right. Very nice of her.
I don't know if it was nice of her. I think it was her way of trying to connect with me, for sure, like, because but also, like, I think that was her way of trying to slide into my DMs, and she thought that that was the way to go. And I'm just like, look, like I didn't respond because I'm just like, what I really wanted to say, I'm not going to repeat what I really wanted to say, but I'm just like, I have a therapist. Like, I don't, like, this is also part of my therapy. Like, just relax. Also, I'm hilarious, so just like let it be. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't have to be so black and white.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen, are you ready to answer my tough question?
Yeah.
Yes, we got it. Let's go.
Oh, the one you asked me before?
Yes.
Okay.
Biggest setback.
Well, this is going to be an interesting answer, and it's definitely going to be pretty heavy. But as a mother,
yes,
so I've had two children, as you know,
Yeah.
and my first child passed away 3 years ago. So, and this is why I'm like struggling with calling this a failure, because
It's not a failure, but
it's
I
not a
understand.
failure, but my instincts as a mother is to keep my children alive,
Right.
and I did not do that, and that's tough for me.
Yeah. But Jen, you like, I mean, we can talk about this all day, but you know, she was a special needs.
Mhm.
So you did more than your best, I'm sure, just from what I know and everything. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, because I'm not a parent, you know. I've only lost my parents, but I know that, like, I remember even like when my mom passed away, that my grandmother, who was, I don't know, what, 60 or something when my mom died, like it was even like she had that same thing. She's like, you're not
Yeah,
supposed to, you know, you're not supposed to bury your kids. And it's
yeah.
just like, it's heavy, you know. And that's something that you're obviously always going to have to deal with, to think about. Like, I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that it doesn't cross your mind and stuff. But so did you decide to compete right after that? Right about.
So no, I did my first two shows before,
Hmm.
and again, as I said earlier, it wasn't until my third show that I got my pro card. So
Right.
what happened was, she passed in March of 2018, and the plan was to compete that year, later in the year. And after I lost her, I was like, there there's no way, I'm competing. That's crazy. That's stupid. Like, that just seemed um, like a ridiculous thought. And the more I sat with it, I just started realizing that my daughter was like the definition of perseverance. She had a lot of issues and a very complicated life, and she worked her ass off 24 hours a day to survive every day, and with a smile on her face. So I just started thinking about how I I wanted to, and I want to always um, keep her memory alive by acting the way that I can just sort of embody her spirit. And so I just realized that if I didn't do that show, I would be just massively disrespectful towards her life and what she represented. And so I inevitably decided to compete because of her. And it was actually a dual purpose, because I was also really drowning in depression and trying to figure out how to live a normal life again. And so I knew that if I put that on as a goal and put myself on that track to do all the things that are necessary to compete, eating, drinking, sleeping, training, that it would help me just recover.
Yeah.
And so I competed at that world show, and that's when I got my pro card. So it was a pretty amazing experience.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I can't imagine, and I hope I don't ever have to
I hope
imagine.
so.
But I mean, that just goes to like your personality and your drive to just be like, okay, well, we're still going to do this. And not only that, but get my pro card.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing that, Jen. Um,
Can you do that thing that you used to do at my shows?
you know, I will I will try, but I'll be honest, I got my second shot yesterday, and I was really sick this morning.
Oh, what
I,
does that have to do with your throat hurts?
I'm not 100% right now, but I'll
Okay.
try it. So what Jen is,
Don't strain yourself.
no, I'm not, but I just don't know if it's going to sound as good as it used to. So what Jen is referring to, I don't know if any of the PERFORMA Nation listeners know, but I'm Mexican, and there's this thing. that Mexicans, specifically like from Mexico, do when like a certain type of song comes on. I want to say it's like ranchero music, or it's one of the types of genres of like Mexican music. And so when it comes on anywhere, it literally, you could be anywhere, and if these songs come on, you hear ah, and like so I used to go, I went to one of Jenn's show when you won the sword. She won, what was that, the Excalibur or something, right?
Yep.
One of the first, was that the first show that you won that I went to?
Second. Oh, it was the first one I won, but it was my second show ever.
Yeah. And so I did that while she was on stage, because she had asked me to do it. And to be honest, it used to sound a lot better. But like I said, I got my second vaccine yesterday, so I was a little under the weather this morning, but I'm feeling better now. So I'm ready to make out with everybody. My girlfriend probably wouldn't like that, but you know, it's like we've been locked up for like a year. Okay, Jenn, tell everybody where our listeners can connect with you online, and we'll include it in the show notes, but in case people don't know how to use show notes, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, man. My Instagram is chess fitness.
Chess,
so, chess underscore fitness.
Chess,
so chess like the game.
Yep. Underscore fitness. And that's because your middle name is Chessmore. And you just,
well, it started that way, and then I used that as an embodiment of my philosophy towards training, which is a strategy, cerebral strategy towards navigating your health and fitness with a whole lot of different components.
Do you play chess?
Yeah.
Because I don't know shit about chess, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't, there's always the analogy of checkers and chess, and chess is pretty intellectual.
Right. There's this thing talking about like how many calories that people burn while they play chess.
Playing chess, yeah.
Because like their brain muscle is working so hard, and I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so chess underscore fitness on Instagram, right?
Yep.
And then
I have a website.
Yep.
Chess Fitness Online.
Chessfitnessonline.com, and that's they can train, you know, your, like I said, your facility, Chess Fitness, is in El Segundo. But I'm assuming, especially now, that you probably also do like virtual training and stuff too, or?
Yep, absolutely. I have everything from online programs that I customize those for the person, do Zoom sessions, we do group Zoom sessions sometimes. And then a lot of clients do a hybrid of all sorts of different things. So sometimes they'll come in, sometimes I'll train them through Zoom. If people travel, there's always an opportunity to use a variety of different modalities. But yeah, we make it happen.
Okay. And then one more question for me, for our listeners too, but who is one of your athletes that maybe we don't all know about, is not a household name, that is about to become a household name?
Bryson Tremaine.
Bryson. Oh, Jenn, are you serious? Bryson Tremaine?
Why are you laughing?
Because I have, you probably never seen it, but I have this, I have a joke about people giving their kids like weird names, and I talk about how Bryson's not a real name, and it's so funny because so I'm talking about how I'm talking about how like stop giving your kids weird names so that people will remember them, and I'm like, Bryson's not a name. And then this lady is like in the back of the auditorium or of the comedy club, and she's like, my son, that's my son's name. And I'm like, well, your son has a fucked up name, dude. And everyone started dying, and it's just like so funny.
Is Bryson a weird name?
I think it's just a combination of two. Okay, there's no 40-year-olds named Bryson, is all I'm saying. Bryson is a very like more millennial, like 22. How old is Bryson Tremaine?
Yeah, he's 21.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a newer name. I didn't grow up with any Brysons in my life, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. He might be 20. He's 20 or 21, either way.
So what's his sport? Or
he plays football. He's a wide receiver at Stanford University.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a badass. I've been working with him since he was a senior in high school, and he walked on Stanford his first year, made the team, was one of 2 freshmen to make the traveling team, really showed up, and by his sophomore year, they granted him a full-ride scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a badass for sure. So I really think he's on his way to being a household name.
That's
100%.
That's another fucked up mascot though, right? A fucking tree. They should have the poets versus the fucking trees. That's Stanford's mascot is a tree, the cardinal, which is just the worst. You've been to a Stanford football game, right? When they have the big old fucking
long time ago.
They have the big old tree running around on the field. It's just so dumb. It's a tree. It's running. Someone's underneath the tree running around like fucking like an idiot, and it's just like, oh man, I'm so scared. The tree. It's just funny, but it's better than a poet, I guess. Not much better, but better.
It is. No, the poet had this whole like velvet suit with the quill feather thing.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Okay, well, Jen, thank you so much for taking time to do our little POPcast. You can, like I said, you can follow Jen. We'll put it in the show notes, chess_fitness, or check her out, Chess Fitness Online. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jenn Paolucci. Thanks for listening to the PERFORMA POPcast. Hang on for a second, Jen.